The weekend is finally here again and we got game week 10 of the English Premier League on our hands to predict. Game week 9 predictions were not that great and we intend to do better with week 10 predictions. So before we get into the predictions, I would like to advise you guys to always choose the picks you are comfortable with and do not gamble with money you cannot afford to lose. I know gambling is a risk, but before you take that risk, you always got to be mentally prepared for the outcome of the results. So without further ado, let's get it rolling. Brighton and Hove Albion and Leeds United will be looking to climb into the top half of the Premier League table when they square off at the Amex Stadium on Saturday afternoon. The two teams butt heads for the first time since March 2023 when they shared the spoils in a 2-2 draw at Elland Road in the top flight. A combined total of 29 goals have been conceded by Brighton, 15, and Leeds, 14. In the Premier League this season, and we expect both teams to take advantage of each other's defensive frailties this weekend. Even though the Seagulls could be missing a number of first-team players through injury, Herzler should still field a strong enough squad to outscore the Whites at the Amex, where they are yet to lose this season 2 wins and 2 draws. So I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Brighton win and my betting tip is total under 4.5 bookings. Trekking to a ground where they have never lost in the Premier League, an Arsenal side who can do no wrong visit Burnley in Saturday's top-flight battle at Turf Moor. Mikel Arteta's men have secured an excellent 8 wins on the spin in all competitions, but the Clarets also have reason to celebrate after back-to-back triumphs. Injuries may still be biting Arteta's men as the cold weather begins to bite, but the Spaniards' big hitters are well-rested, well-oiled and still impenetrable at the back. Burnley's Pang Shang for goals will surely prove powerless against the leaders' rearguard, and via set pieces or open play, the Gunners should score more than once en route to consecutive win number 9. So I'm gonna go for a 0-2 Arsenal win and my betting tip is total corners over 9.5. Two teams level on points in the Premier League and both boasting wins over champions Liverpool this season lock horns at Selhurst Park on Saturday afternoon, as Crystal Palace play host to Brentford. The Eagles suffered defeat in this fixture last season, with the Bees securing a 2-1 away victory in January thanks to goals from Brian Bumo and Kevin Shade. The first 2 Premier League meetings between Crystal Palace and Brentford finished goalless, but since then, both teams have scored in all 6 encounters between the two sides and we expect the net to ripple at both ends once again this weekend. Brentford got the better of Palace last season and have the potential to put a sting in the tail of the Eagles once again, but we are backing the hosts to outscore their opponents on this occasion and return to winning ways in the top flight. So I'm gonna go for 2-1 Crystal Palace win and my betting tip is both teams to score. Two Premier League teams struggling at the wrong end of the table do battle at Craven Cottage on Saturday afternoon as Fulham play host to basement club Wolverhampton Wanderers. The Cottagers beat Wolves 2-1 at Molineux in their last league meeting in February and only once in their history have they ever won back-to-back matches against the Old Gold, doing so in the second tier back in October 1908. There is very little to separate these two out-of-form teams, so a closely contested battle could be on the cards this weekend. The absence of a few key players for Fulham might give Wolves a slight edge, but we still expect the hosts to come away with at least a share of the spoils from what could prove to be a frustrating afternoon for both sides. So I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw and my betting tip is total over 1.5 goals. A resurgent Manchester United outfit will be looking to climb back into the top 4 of the Premier League table when they travel to the City Ground to face Sean Dyche's Nottingham Forest on Saturday afternoon. The Red Devils are out for revenge against the Tricky Trees after they were beaten in both home and away fixtures last season, most recently losing 1-0 on Forest's turf in April. Nottingham Forest are desperate to turn their fortunes around in the Premier League and will hope to stop leaking goals now that Dyche is at the helm. The Tricky Trees' recent record against Man United offers some encouragement ahead of Saturday, but the resurgent Red Devils may pose a different challenge this time around. Now they appear to have found their groove. Considering that Forest have not been firing on all cylinders in the final third, and Man United duo Cunha and Bumo are in fine form, we are backing the visitors to continue their hot streak and claim a narrow victory at the City ground. So I'm gonna go for a 1-2 Manchester United win, and my betting tip is Manchester United win or draw. A London derby that rarely fails to deliver endless entertainment. Tottenham Hotspur host Chelsea on Saturday in the pick of this weekend's Premier League fixtures. The fierce rivals enter game week 10 on the back of contrasting EFL Cup results, as Spurs were dumped out by Newcastle United while the Blues edged a 7-goal spectacular with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Chaos is so often the order of the day when Spurs face Chelsea at home, and with the Blues sharing 16 goals across their last 3 games in all tournaments, Saturday is likely to be no different. Confidently predicting which version of Frank's Tottenham will show up is a fool's errand, and the Lilywhites are equally effective and vulnerable from dead ball situations, so a gripping draw could be on the cards here. So I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw, and my betting tip is total over 2.5 goals. The best and worst kind of fives could be achieved at Anfield on Saturday evening, when a leaky Liverpool outfit host an ever-improving Aston Villa unit in the Premier League. The regressing Reds are at risk of losing 5 successive Premier League games for the first time ever, while the Lions seek 5 straight league wins at the home of the reigning champions. The majority of Liverpool's starters might be well rested, but Aston Villa are too. The Lions had a complete rest in midweek thanks to their early EFL Cup exit and are the most informed team in the land right now. There is realistically little to no chance of the hosts wielding the axe on Slot, but both he and his players know just how massive Saturday's game is after Wednesday's ignominy. While a win may be out of reach owing to their disjointed and permeable defense, we have faith in Liverpool to at least stop the losing rut in an entertaining draw. So I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw, and my betting tip is total over 2.5 goals as well. Yet to weave his magic as West Ham United manager, Nuno Espirito Santo once again goes in search of his first win as Irons boss when Newcastle United visit the London Stadium for Sunday's Premier League fixture. The capital club in crisis risks suffering 4 successive defeats in the top flight, whereas the effervescent visitors are on the hunt for their 4th straight win across all tournaments. West Ham fans may have reacted with shock when they saw Santos line up at Elland Road, and their fears were proven right, so the Portuguese would do well to return to a more familiar setup against an informed Newcastle outfit. However, the Irons still look largely devoid of ideas in attack and at the back, so Howe's refreshed big hitters should have no problems marching to their belated first Premier League away win of the season. So I'm gonna go for a 0-3 Newcastle win, and my betting tip is Newcastle money line. Challenging the Big Six status quo in the Premier League, second-placed Bournemouth dissed their mettle against fifth-placed Manchester City in Sunday's fascinating top-flight contest at the Etihad. Andoni Iraola's Cherries sunk Nottingham Forest 2-0 last weekend to move into the silver medal position, while the Citizens' fleeting title hopes were damaged yet again in a 1-0 loss to Aston Villa. City are one of just 3 teams in the top flight to have scored more than Bournemouth, whose 11 goals conceded also makes them the worst defensive team in the top 5, so an Etihad extravaganza ought to be on the cards. The Cherries have tried and failed to lift the Etihad curse time and time again, though, and with City currently enjoying that winning feeling in front of their own, Guardiola's men have our vote to triumph and rise above their plucky visitors in the table. So I'm gonna go for 3-2 Man City win, and my betting tip is total over 2.5 goals. Sunderland will be aiming to continue their excellent start to the 2025-26 Premier League campaign when they welcome Everton to the Stadium of Light on Monday night. The Black Cats are currently 4th in the Premier League table, boasting 17 points from their first 9 matches, while the Toffees are 14th in the division on 11 points. Expect Sunderland to approach this match with an emphasis on their defensive stability and streamlined build-up, particularly as Everton have lost by a 2-goal margin in 43% of their last 7 fixtures. Sunderland's record of being undefeated in 82% of their last 11 matches in all competitions stands out as well. So I'm gonna go for 2-1 Sunderland win, and my betting tip is total over 1.5 goals.